Is it possible to grow the kings of the woods and keep them on your property? Many hunters with access to a couple hundred acres manage whitetails with the belief that a few years after putting in food plots and letting the small bucks go, they'll be swimming in mature, majestic bucks. Is this really possible? Is it happening now?
Welcome to Deer and Deer Hunting TV. I'm Charlie Elsheimer. For some time now, deer hunters have been led to believe that you can stockpile bucks on a property by merely passing up the younger bucks. Well, this is not necessarily the case. In this episode, we'll take a close look at this subject. Stay tuned. There are several reasons why you can't keep whitetail bucks on a given piece of property, especially properties that are less than 1,000 acres in size. Probably one of the biggest reasons is dispersal. The natural behavior of a whitetail buck is the fact that at certain ages it wants to leave and go to other areas. It disperses. As a yearling, for example, he winds up spending his autumn months in an area that he was not born in. And that's kind of the natural way things work. The mother runs him off. He might disperse 1, 2, 3 miles away. And then when he turns 2.5 years old, he'll probably disperse again. And then it's only when he's about 3, 4.5 years old that he sort of settles down. But even at that, there's going to be some dispersal from time to time because of some other factors. One of the reasons it's tough to stockpile bucks is the fact that these whitetail bucks follow their noses in autumn. When the pheromones start flying and the does are starting to come into estrus, they start to wander. The range expands tremendously. By way of example, around September 1st, the whitetail buck is covering probably 600 to 1,000 acres. Certainly not that great a territory. But as his testosterone starts to increase, and as we inch towards October and November, it starts to get to the peak point of November 1st, and by that time, those bucks are covering up to 4,000 acres. And in some remote country, it could be even greater than that. So they follow their noses, and in the process, they get themselves in trouble, and it's very difficult for them to survive. Another reason it's difficult to stockpile bucks is because when they start to move in the autumn months, they follow their noses, they're looking for does. They wind up on habitat and ranges they've not been on before, and simply put, they discover better ranges. They find better food sources. They find a better doe population. They might find better cover. And so it's more suited to what they like, and they all have different personalities, and they may well leave your area and go to where it is better. And so they discover better home ranges, and they'll move there. And it's not uncommon to see that happen, especially in a lot of farm country areas. But probably the biggest reason why whitetail bucks are difficult to stockpile is because they all have an incredible attitude and they want to become the alpha buck in their herd. If they can't become the alpha buck, they're going to go where they can be. And that's what makes it so difficult to hold deer on a property. I'm often asked, if you own 200 acres of land and maybe people are doing a good management program around you, how many 140 class bucks can you expect that 200 acres to hold? I know they're always shocked because I say, well, maybe one. Probably not two, and the reason it will not be two is because that one buck that's there, he's going to be the boss. And in the process of sorting out what's going on during the rut, there's going to be a fight, and the loser is not going to have a place to do any breeding. You see, these bucks want to breed, especially the 3s and 4-year-olds, but also the 2.5-year-old. That 2.5-year-old buck is difficult to hold because if you've got 3.5 or 4.5-year-old bucks on your range or on your farm or on the land that you're managing, he knows he's not going to be part of the breeding mix. And he's going to start to walk till he can find a place where he can be a part of the breeding mix. And so for that reason, it's extremely difficult to stockpile whitetails. And that can be frustrating, but that's kind of the reality of what this is all about. They need to be the alpha buck, they need to be top of the pyramid, They need to have the ability to breed those does, and if they can't, they're going to go where they can be the top breeder buck.